9.1%. That's the unemployment rate between October and December 2019. When you look at the amount of people that are unemployed, 6.7 million people, according to the official unemployment rate. And then there's the expanded definition, which basically includes discouraged workers and people that have been given up on looking for work, but are still of a working age. Look at that figure, 38.7%. It translates to just around 10.5 million people. I think also interesting is you look at this particular bracket here, 15 to 24, the unemployment rate stands at 58%. This is a very restive bunch because work has to be found by young South Africans, and you can see the number of protests really increasing on that front. All right, so these are the look at some of the industries or sectors that have lost jobs, trade being 159,000. In fact, for more, I'm going to actually talk to independent economist Elize Kruger. Elize, thanks for coming in. So no change, but it's still a very staggering number of people unemployed. What caught my attention is that generally in the first quarter you would see an improvement in the unemployment rate. It never happened this time around. Why?
Yeah, that is actually a conundrum. You know, if you look at the trade sector, normally during the Christmas season, holiday season, there are a lot of temporary jobs being created, especially in the hospitality side. And we haven't seen that happen. Actually, we saw the biggest drop of all sectors in the trade side. I think it is probably a reflection of how the pain in the economy is now reaching all levels. And I think, you know, actually in December you also heard that a lot of people stayed home and did not go on holiday. And I think one might have seen that effect also in the numbers today.
It reflects low demand, and I think that that particular icon, that trade dropping by 159,000, is such a perfect illustration of where this economy is going.
Absolutely, especially if one look at today's numbers in the overall for 2019. So an economy growing by a bare 0.3%, unable to create jobs. Now, overall for the year, we've shed about 108,000 jobs. And if you then add to that the number of people entering the labour force, you know, now we're talking about, you know, matriculants completing their school career, you're adding an extra 586,000 people to the unemployment number. And that is huge. And that is a recurring scenario unless we can get the economy growing. And that's where the big question mark is, as this year's prospects seem to be pretty dismal as well.
And it speaks a lot to the fact that our population growth, is sitting around 1.5, 1.6%. It's not aligned to what the economy is doing. We're in the negative. Let me ask you this. We've got a very important address on Thursday, the State of the Nation address by President Cyril Ramaphosa. We're often told the cheapest form of stimulus is confidence. Perhaps if we get that going, factories come up, people get more jobs. I would imagine it's directly linked to those figures, isn't it?
Absolutely. And we haven't seen any change in confidence for the better since President Ramaphosa has actually taken the management of the country.
What does he have to say?
That is the difficult thing. I doubt whether Thursday will really change this whole scenario. We've got the load shedding part of our scenario that seems to be with us for at least 18 months or 24. That is already a big dampening factor on all confidence in the country, not only the actual business in the street, but also for companies that want to expand, knowing you won't have enough electricity is an immediate dampening impact. Yes, how will they address that? But there's no short-term remedy. So we're looking at a scenario where I think confidence will probably remain low for the time being. So I doubt whether we're going to look on Friday morning and say, listen, the whole story has changed. I think there's a couple of underlying factors that will just remain with us for a bit longer.
We'll try and keep an eye exactly on what the President says on Thursday. Elize Kruger, thanks very much indeed for coming in. Elize Kruger there on the unemployment numbers.